Hello everyone, and welcome back to Holy Histories, your go-to channel for inspiring Bible truths. Today, we're diving into the incredible journey of Joseph, the favored son of Jacob. From his early days as a dreamer with grand visions to becoming a powerful leader in Egypt, Joseph's story is filled with dramatic twists and profound lessons. His journey is a testament to the power of faith and forgiveness, illustrating how trust in God's plan can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Joseph's dreams set off a series of events that not only transformed his own life, but also shaped the destiny of nations. As we explore his captivating story, we'll uncover the mysterious ways in which providence works and how adversity can lead to remarkable achievements. Before we take an in-depth look at how Joseph's resilience and faith guided him through trials and ultimately fulfilled his destiny, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Holy Histories if you haven't already, and click the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Let's jump right in. Joseph was born into a family of great historical significance, the 12th son of Jacob, who is also known as Israel. Jacob himself was a figure of divine encounters, having wrestled with an angel and having had his name changed to Israel, meaning he who struggles with God. This name change would later symbolize the nation of Israel, Jacob's descendants. Joseph's mother, Rachel, was Jacob's favorite wife, and Joseph was the first of her 2 sons, the second being Benjamin. Jacob had 12 sons in total with his 2 wives, Leah and Rachel, and their maidservants, Bilhah and Zilpah. This complex family structure contributed to the tensions and rivalries that would later play out dramatically in Joseph's life. Joseph was born when Jacob was old, and this fact, combined with Rachel's long period of barrenness before his birth, made Joseph especially precious to Jacob. Jacob's love for Joseph was evident and profound. This favoritism was not merely emotional, but was symbolically and materially expressed through the gift of a richly ornamented robe, often described as a coat of many colors. This robe was more than just a piece of clothing. It was a symbol of Jacob's preferential love and a mark of distinction among his brothers. The significance of the colorful coat cannot be overstated. In the ancient Near East, clothing was a significant indicator of one's status and role within a family and society. By giving Joseph this special coat, Jacob was publicly declaring Joseph's unique status and his intentions for him. This act of favoritism did not go unnoticed by Joseph's brothers and contributed to the growing tension within the family. Joseph's relationship with his brothers was strained from early on, largely due to Jacob's overt favoritism. Joseph's behavior and his own actions, which did not endear him to them, compounded the brothers' resentment towards Joseph. Joseph was known to bring bad reports about his brothers to their father. In Genesis chapter 37 verse 2, it is mentioned that Joseph, at 17 years old, was shepherding the flocks with his brothers, and he brought a bad report about them to Jacob. This act of reporting his brothers' misdeeds likely intensified their dislike for him, as it portrayed Joseph as a tattletale and possibly arrogant. The tension escalated further with Joseph's dreams. Joseph had 2 significant dreams that he shared with his family, both of which implied that he would one day rule over them. In the first dream, Joseph and his brothers were binding sheaves of grain in the field, and his sheaf stood upright while the sheaves of his brothers gathered around and bowed down to it. In the second dream, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed down to Joseph. These dreams were clear indications of Joseph's future dominance, and when he shared them, it only fueled his brothers' jealousy and anger. The brothers' jealousy and resentment towards Joseph reached a boiling point as these dreams were interpreted as symbols of Joseph's future supremacy. Their feelings are captured poignantly in Genesis chapter 37, verse 8, where the brothers ask, "Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us?" Their hatred grew not just because of the dreams, but because Joseph seemed to be the favored son destined for greatness, a position they coveted and resented him for. The story continues on how Joseph's brothers took out their deadly revenge on him. It is recorded that the sun was just beginning to cast its golden rays over the land, promising another day of toil and harvest. Jacob's sons, Joseph among them, had gathered for the morning meal. Though the 11 older brothers spoke and laughed, their eyes often flickered with discontent towards Joseph, whose colorful coat, a gift from their father, seemed to glow even brighter in the morning light. Joseph, oblivious to the mounting resentment, recounted his dreams, his eyes sparkling with the naivety of youth. The previous night, Joseph had dreamt again. "Listen," he had said, his voice filled with the wonder of one who believed his dreams to be prophetic. "In my dream, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me." This declaration, following his earlier dream of their sheaves of grain bowing to his own, was met with cold silence and tightened jaws. Even their father Jacob had rebuked him this time, though gently, asking, "Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed come to bow ourselves to the earth before you?" The seed of jealousy, once sown, had grown into a tangled vine of bitterness. The brothers' animosity towards Joseph was not born solely from his dreams, but from the favor their father showed him. Joseph was the son of Rachel, Jacob's beloved wife, and he held a special place in their father's heart, a place they all coveted. The brothers' dissatisfaction reached its peak when Jacob sent Joseph to check on them. As they tended to their flocks near Shechem, the brothers plotted their day's work, casting furtive glances towards Joseph, who moved with an air of preoccupation. Seeing him approach from a distance, his colorful coat marking him as a target, the brothers' frustration boiled over into hatred. "Here comes that dreamer," one of them muttered, his words dripping with scorn. "Let's kill him and throw him into one of these pits. We can say that a wild beast devoured him. Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." Reuben, the eldest, felt a pang of conscience. Though he shared in their jealousy, the thought of shedding their brother's blood was too much to bear. "Let's not take his life," he urged. "Shed no blood. Throw him into this pit here in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him." He hoped to return later and rescue Joseph, to bring him back to their father unharmed. The brothers agreed, and as Joseph arrived, his bright eyes and innocent questions only fueled their rage. They seized him, ripping off his coat, the symbol of their father's favoritism, and cast him into a nearby pit. The pit was dry, its walls steep and insurmountable. Joseph's cries echoed as he fell, but his brothers turned a deaf ear to his pleas for mercy. They sat down to eat, the sound of their brother's distress a bitter backdrop to their meal. As they ate, a caravan of Ishmaelites approached from Gilead, their camels bearing spices, balm, and myrrh, on their way to Egypt. Judah, ever the opportunist, saw a chance for profit. "What profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood?" he asked. "Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." The brothers agreed, and they drew Joseph out of the pit, his face a mix of relief and confusion, quickly turning to terror as he realized their intent. They sold him for 20 pieces of silver, watching as he was bound and led away, his cries fading into the distance. The weight of the silver coins felt heavy in their hands, a tangible mark of their betrayal. Reuben returned, finding the pit empty. His heart sank with dread. "The boy is gone," he cried. "What am I to do?" His brothers quickly concocted a plan to cover their deed. They slaughtered a goat, dipping Joseph's coat in its blood, and brought it back to their father. "This we have found," they said, presenting the coat. "Please identify whether it is your son's robe or not." Jacob recognized it immediately, his heart breaking. It is my son's robe. A fierce animal has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt torn to pieces. He tore his garments, put on sackcloths, and mourned his son for many days. His children tried to comfort him, but he refused to be consoled. I shall go down to Sheol to my son, mourning, he said, grieving deeply. In Egypt, Joseph's fate hung in the balance. Sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard, Joseph's journey was far from over. Though betrayed by his brothers and far from home, the dreams that once filled his nights remained a flickering light in the darkness. The God of his fathers had not abandoned him, and Joseph, though bruised and broken, would rise again. The brothers returned to their lives, each carrying the weight of their actions. The silence of their deceit lay heavy between them, a bond forged in treachery and blood. Joseph's dreams, which had once filled them with such rage, now haunted them, whispering of a future yet unwritten, a destiny they had tried to silence but could not destroy. Joseph, who was now in shackles and a slave, was led through the gates of a foreign land, the weight of his brother's betrayal pressing heavily upon him. The dreams that once seemed so vivid now felt like distant echoes. Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard, Joseph's life of servitude began to acquire him. Potiphar was a stern but fair man, and he soon recognized Joseph's potential. Despite the chains of his new reality, Joseph's spirit remained unbroken. He worked diligently, his natural acumen and integrity shining through in every task he undertook. Potiphar observed this, seeing that the Lord was with Joseph and made him succeed in all he did. He placed him in charge of his household. In Potiphar's house, Joseph's responsibilities increased. He managed housekeeping with precision and wisdom. Under his care, the household flourished. Potiphar entrusted everything to Joseph, from the servants' duties to the estate's financial transactions. The house prospered, and Joseph's presence was a blessing to all. Despite his status as a slave, Joseph's position afforded him a level of respect and authority he had not known since his days in his father's house. Yet, with power came peril. Joseph's handsome appearance and noble demeanor captivated Potiphar's wife, Zuleika. Her admiration quickly turned to desire. She began to make advances toward him, her intentions clear and insistent. "Lie with me," she demanded, her eyes burning with unfulfilled longing. Joseph, bound by his loyalty to his master and his reverence for God, refused her. He said to her, "Behold, my master has no concern about anything in the house, and he has put everything that he has in my charge. He is not greater in this house than I am, nor has he kept back anything from me except you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" Zuleika's advances became more persistent, her frustration mounting with each rejection. Joseph took care to avoid her, yet she bided her time, waiting for an opportunity. One day, when the house was empty of servants, she seized him by his garment, demanding again that he lie with her. Joseph fled, leaving his garment in her hand. Spurned and humiliated, Zuleika's desire turned to spiteful vengeance. She called out to the servants, her voice a mixture of rage and feigned terror. "See, he has brought among us a Hebrew to laugh at us. He came to lie with me, and I screamed loudly. And as soon as he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, he left his garment beside me and fled." Potiphar returned home to find his wife in tears, clutching Joseph's garment as evidence of his supposed betrayal. Her accusations were a dagger to his heart. Potiphar, torn between the loyalty he felt towards his trusted servant and the honor of his household, acted swiftly. He had Joseph arrested and thrown into the king's prison. The darkness of the prison was a stark contrast to the light of Potiphar's house. Joseph found himself in chains once more, the weight of his unjust imprisonment heavy upon his soul. Yet, Even in the depths of despair, Joseph's faith remained unshaken. The Lord was with him, granting him favor in the eyes of the prison keeper. Joseph's natural leadership and integrity soon became apparent. The keeper of the prison, impressed by Joseph's character and abilities, placed him in charge of the other prisoners. He was entrusted with the daily administration of the prison, and whatever he did, the Lord made it succeed. Among the prisoners were two men who had once served Pharaoh closely, his chief cupbearer and his chief baker. They had offended their master and were cast into the same prison as Joseph. One night, each had a dream that troubled them deeply. Seeing their distress, Joseph, with compassion and curiosity, asked, "Why are your faces downcast today?" The men shared their dreams with him, and Joseph, acknowledging God's guidance, offered to interpret them. The chief cupbearer recounted his dream first. "In my dream, there was a vine before me, and on the vine there were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, its blossoms shot forth, and the clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand." Joseph listened, then spoke confidently. "This is its interpretation. The 3 branches are 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your office, and you shall place Pharaoh's cup in his hand as formerly, when you were his cupbearer. But remember me when it is well with you, and please do me the kindness to mention me to Pharaoh, and so get me out of this house." Encouraged by the favorable interpretation, the chief baker shared his dream. "I also had a dream. There were 3 cake baskets on my head, and in the uppermost basket there were all sorts of baked food for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating it out of the basket on my head." Joseph's heart grew heavy as he interpreted the dream. "This is its interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head from you and hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat the flesh from you." 3 days later, on Pharaoh's birthday, the dreams came to pass exactly as Joseph had interpreted. The cupbearer was restored to his position, while the baker was executed. Despite Joseph's plea, the cupbearer forgot him, and Joseph remained in prison, his fate seemingly sealed by the bars that confined him. Yet, in the shadows of his cell, Joseph's faith endured. The dreams that had once heralded his downfall now held the promise of his redemption. And in the silent corridors of the prison, the whispers of destiny began to stir. For Joseph's journey was far from over, and the dreams that guided him were not yet fulfilled. The turning point in Joseph's life came when Pharaoh experienced 2 troubling dreams that none of his magicians or wise men could interpret. In the first dream, Pharaoh saw 7 healthy cows being devoured by 7 gaunt and ugly cows. In the second dream, he saw 7 healthy ears of grain swallowed by 7 thin and scorched ears. These dreams perplexed Pharaoh and his court, creating a sense of urgency to find their meaning. It was at this moment that the cupbearer remembered Joseph and his gift for interpreting dreams. He informed Pharaoh of Joseph's abilities, and Pharaoh summoned Joseph from prison. Standing before Pharaoh, Joseph made it clear that the ability to interpret dreams was not his own, but a gift from God. He explained that both dreams were essentially the same and conveyed a divine message about the future of Egypt. The 7 healthy cows and 7 healthy ears of grain represented 7 years of great abundance that would come to Egypt. The 7 gaunt cows and the 7 thin ears of grain symbolized 7 years of severe famine that would follow the years of plenty. Joseph advised Pharaoh to take proactive measures during the 7 years of abundance to prepare for the impending famine. He recommended storing surplus grain during the years of plenty to ensure there would be enough food to sustain the country during the famine. Joseph's interpretation and his strategic advice impressed Pharaoh. Recognizing the wisdom and foresight in Joseph's counsel, Pharaoh decided to appoint Joseph to oversee the implementation of this plan. He stated, "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" Pharaoh then elevated Joseph to the position of vizier, the second in command of Egypt, saying, "You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." Pharaoh gave Joseph his signet ring, fine garments, and a gold chain, symbols of his new authority. Joseph was also given the Egyptian name Zaphenath-Paneah and was married to Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. Thus, Joseph, a Hebrew who had been sold into slavery, became one of the most powerful men in the most powerful nation of the time. Under Joseph's administration, Egypt thrived during the 7 years of abundance. He traveled the country, overseeing grain collection and storage in cities. Joseph ensured that an immense quantity of grain was stored, so much that it was like the sand of the sea, beyond measure. When the 7 years of famine began, the severity of the conditions became evident, affecting not only Egypt, but also the surrounding regions. As the famine spread, people from other lands came to Egypt to buy grain, including Joseph's own brothers, who did not recognize him initially. Joseph's foresight and planning not only saved Egypt, but also enabled it to become a source of aid to neighboring nations. Joseph's brothers traveled to Egypt to buy grain due to the famine in Canaan. They bowed before him, fulfilling Joseph's earlier prophetic dreams in which his brothers' sheaves bowed to his sheaf, and the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed to him. Despite recognizing them, Joseph initially concealed his identity and tested his brothers to see if they had changed since selling him into slavery. After several tests, including planting a silver cup in Benjamin's sack to frame him for theft, Joseph revealed his identity to his brothers in a dramatic and emotional encounter. He forgave them, saying it was God who had sent him to Egypt to preserve their lives. Joseph's faith in divine providence allowed him to see the larger purpose behind his suffering and rise to power. Joseph invited his father Jacob and his entire family to live in Egypt, ensuring their well-being during the remaining years of famine. Pharaoh welcomed Joseph's family and provided them with the fertile land of Goshen, where they could live and prosper. The story of Joseph's dream is a compelling narrative about adversity, perseverance, and ultimate triumph. Joseph's journey from being his father's favored son to a slave and eventually to the governor of Egypt serves as a powerful reminder of the significance of dreams and the resilience required to see them through. Dreams, in the context of Joseph's dream, are not just figments of imagination, but divine revelations of God's plan. They serve as a guiding light, a glimpse into a future ordained by God. In our own lives, dreams often represent our deepest aspirations and the vision we hold for our future. They are the seeds of potential, sown in our hearts, waiting to be nurtured and brought to fruition. Joseph's dreams remind us that our aspirations can be divinely inspired and that we should hold on to them with faith, even when faced with opposition. Joseph's dreams were met with jealousy and hatred from his brothers. Their envy led them to plot against him, eventually selling him into slavery. This act of betrayal highlights a crucial aspect of pursuing one's dreams: the presence of opposition. Often, those closest to us may not understand or support our vision. In fact, their jealousy or disbelief can become significant obstacles. For Christians, this aspect of Joseph's dream is particularly relevant. When pursuing God-given dreams, we may encounter resistance from those around us. It is essential to recognize that such opposition is part of the journey. Instead of being deterred, we must remain steadfast, trusting in God's plan and timing. Joseph's life in Egypt was fraught with challenges. As a slave in Potiphar's house, he excelled and earned his master's trust. only to be falsely accused of attempting to seduce Potiphar's wife. This accusation led to his imprisonment, a significant setback in his journey. Yet, even in prison, Joseph remained steadfast and faithful. He used his gift of interpreting dreams to help others, which eventually led to his introduction to Pharaoh. Joseph's unwavering faith and integrity, despite his circumstances, are a testament to the power of steadfastness. He did not let his trials dictate his actions or dampen his spirit. Instead, he continued to trust in God's plan, knowing that his dreams would come to pass in due time. For Christians today, Joseph's perseverance is a powerful lesson. Life is often filled with unexpected challenges and setbacks. Maintaining faith and integrity during these times is crucial. By trusting in God's plan and timing, we can navigate through difficulties, knowing that they are temporary and that our perseverance will ultimately lead to the fulfillment of God's promises. Joseph's rise to power as Egypt's governor is a remarkable turnaround in his story. His ability to interpret Pharaoh's dreams, predicting 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine, earned him a position of great authority. Joseph's administrative skills and wisdom not only saved Egypt, but also his own family, who came to Egypt seeking food during the famine. This part of Joseph's dream emphasizes the certainty of God's promises. Despite the trials and tribulations, God's plan for Joseph's life was fulfilled. His dreams, which seemed improbable during his years of suffering, became a reality. As Christians, this is a powerful reminder of God's faithfulness. No matter how difficult our journey may seem, we can trust that God's promises will come to pass. Our dreams, when aligned with God's will, are destined to be realized. It encourages us to remain faithful and hopeful, even when the path ahead is unclear. Joseph's dreams offer several profound lessons for modern-day Christians. Firstly, it highlights the importance of recognizing and valuing God's plan. Dreams can be divinely inspired and serve as a blueprint for our future. We should nurture them with faith and dedication. Second, history teaches us resilience in the face of opposition. Opposition is a natural part of pursuing our dreams, and we must be prepared to face it with courage and steadfastness. Maintaining our faith and integrity, even when falsely accused or wronged, is crucial. Joseph's unwavering character in the face of adversity is a model for how we should conduct ourselves. Finally, Joseph's story is a testament to God's faithfulness. Despite the many setbacks and challenges, God's plan for Joseph's life was fulfilled in a way that exceeded his initial dreams. This reassures us that God's promises are true and that his timing is perfect. As we pursue our dreams, we can trust that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events in our favor. What is your dream? Dreams are not only obtained when we sleep, our dreams can be our plans and goals. We must stick to it and nurture it while asking God for guidance, just like Joseph. The story of Joseph's dream resonates with anyone who has ever had a dream. It underscores the importance of holding on to our dreams with faith, despite opposition and adversity. Joseph's rise to fame, against all odds, is a powerful reminder of the significance of steadfastness and the certainty of God's promises. For Christians, Joseph's story offers valuable lessons on resilience, integrity, and faith. It encourages us to trust in God's plan, remain faithful during trials, and believe that our dreams, when aligned with God's will come to pass. Joseph's journey from a dreamer to a governor is a testament to the transformative power of faith and perseverance. Nurturing dreams as Christians requires faith, perseverance, and practical steps to ensure our aspirations align with God's will and are protected from adversities. The story of Joseph's dream offers valuable insights into how we as Christians can effectively cultivate and safeguard our dreams. Joseph's dreams were a direct revelation from God. Similarly, Christians should seek God's guidance in their dreams through regular prayer and engagement with Scripture. Regularly ask God for wisdom and clarity regarding your dreams. Prayer helps align your aspirations with God's purpose for your life. Develop a strong support system. Joseph's journey was fraught with betrayal and false accusations, but he eventually found favor with people who supported him, like the prison warden and Pharaoh. Engage with a community of believers who can offer support, prayer, and encouragement. Seek out mentors who have walked a similar path and can provide guidance and wisdom. It is important to surround yourself with individuals who will hold you accountable and encourage you to stay true to your faith and dreams. Cultivate patience and perseverance. Joseph's dreams took years to materialize, and he faced numerous setbacks along the way. Cultivating patience and perseverance is crucial in nurturing dreams. Break your dream into smaller, manageable steps to maintain motivation and track progress. Stay committed. Develop resilience by staying committed to your goals, even when faced with obstacles. Reflect on Romans chapter 5, verses 3-4, which speaks about perseverance producing character. Maintain integrity and faithfulness like Joseph did. Despite the trials, Joseph maintained his integrity and faithfulness to God. This is essential for Christians in nurturing their dreams. Uphold strong ethical standards in all your dealings, as Joseph did when he refused Potiphar's wife. Regularly practice your faith through worship, fellowship, and service. Keep God at the center of your pursuits. Be diligent and use your gift to serve others like Joseph did. Joseph's diligence and use of his God-given gift of interpreting dreams played a crucial role in his rise to prominence. Identify your talent. Recognize and develop the talents and skills God has given you. Work diligently. Commit to excellence in all you do, trusting that your efforts will be rewarded in God's timing. Just as Joseph faced significant challenges, modern-day Christians encounter various dream killers that can hinder their progress. They mask in various ways, ranging from jealousy and envy from others, like Joseph's brothers. Colleagues or even family members might feel threatened by your ambitions and seek to undermine your efforts. You are encouraged to maintain humility and focus on your path. Seek support from those who believe in your vision and avoid getting entangled in negative emotions. Other avenues for frustrating our dreams are false accusations and character attacks, like Potiphar's wife did to Joseph. You might face false accusations or slander that aim to damage your reputation and derail your progress. Uphold your integrity and trust that truth will prevail. Continue to act righteously and let your actions speak for your character. When faced with unjust situations and setbacks like imprisonment in the case of Joseph, or such as losing a job or facing legal issues, these can create significant setbacks. Keep faith in God's plan and use the time to grow and develop new skills. Remember Joseph's resilience and trust that God can turn setbacks into setups for future success. Do not be tempted to seek immediate results. The Bible tells us that the vision is for an appointed time, and we are encouraged to wait for it, though it tarries. Lack of immediate progress or results can lead to discouragement and doubt. Embrace the journey and trust God's timing. Use the waiting period to deepen your faith and prepare to fulfill your dreams. There will be temptations and distractions. These are opportunities to compromise. These opportunities that seem beneficial but require compromising your values may arise. Stay true to your principles, recognizing that shortcuts and unethical choices can lead to long-term detriment. Prioritize God's approval over human approval. There will be family members who do not support your aspirations. Joseph. Brothers did not support his dream. They felt threatened and insulted by it and hated him for daring to dream. Respectfully communicate your vision and seek understanding, But stay committed to your God-given dreams, drawing strength from your faith community. Remember to be on the lookout for personal doubts and fears, dream killer, internal doubts and fears of failure. Combat doubts with prayer, scripture, and positive affirmations. Remember God's promises and Joseph's example of overcoming immense personal challenges. The story of Joseph and his dreams is a testament to the power of faith, perseverance, and forgiveness. Joseph's ability to interpret dreams, coupled with his unwavering trust in God, ultimately led him from a pit of despair to a position of great power and influence. His story teaches us that even when faced with adversity and betrayal, holding on to our dreams and maintaining faith can lead to unexpected triumphs. If you found this retelling of Joseph's dream insightful or inspiring, please like and comment below. Your feedback helps us understand what resonates with you, and we always appreciate hearing your thoughts and perspectives. Stay blessed.